The Lord be with you. I'm Reverend Bill Roberts. I'm the pastor of First United Methodist Church in Norwood, North Carolina. We are again suspending worship for this week. We had hoped, following the instructions of Bishop Paul Leland, that we might be able to be back in worship next Sunday, the 29th of March, but he has requested, I think wisely so, that we suspend worship through the end of the month of March. Hopefully we'll be able to gather again in each other's presence to be in worship together starting in April. We'll wait and see how things go with our sheltering in place and with our trying to overcome the effects of this coronavirus. Stay prayerful for those who are greatly affected and make phone calls to your neighbors and to those who are most vulnerable. Let them know that they're certainly cared for and loved at this difficult time. Throughout the season of Lent, we've been taking time in worship to work through Adam Hamilton's book, The Walk. This is 5 essential practices of the Christian life. These are things that Adam feels that we need to attend to deepen our faith walk. And I've read through this book. I think it's got great ideas. I commend this book to you. I'd kind of promised that I would not preach the book. I would just let it inspire me and offer my own message. That's what I'm going to do here in this video sermon today as well. But there is a part that he writes so well that I just wanted to share directly from Adam's own words. I'd like to share that with you now. This is from page 105 of the book. I saw a video recently that touched me. Just before Christmas, a few years ago, filmmaker Rob Bliss conducted an experiment with a group of elementary school-aged children. They were all about 8 or 9 years old, and they all came from lower-income families. As part of the experiment, the children were asked what they'd like for Christmas. One girl wanted a computer. A big giant Barbie house, said another. One boy wanted a trophy case, and another wanted an Xbox 360, and yet another asked for Minecraft Legos. Then each of the children was asked what they thought their parents would want for Christmas. My mom would probably want a ring, said one of the boys. She's never really had a ring. A new car, said another of the children. Watches and jewelry, said others. Then the camera caught the wide-eyed astonishment of one of the boys as he watched the organizers of the experiment present him with the Xbox he had mentioned. All of the other children had similar reactions when they received the gifts that they had been hoping for. Then things took an unexpected twist. Each child also received the gift they had indicated that their mother or dad would want. There was a catch. They could only keep one gift, either the one they wanted or the one for their parent. The video showed what happened next. With little hesitation, each child chose to forego a gift for themselves in favor of a gift for their parent. The interviewer asked the boy who had asked for Legos why he made the choice to forego the Legos and instead to accept the gift he thought his mother would want. He said, "Because Legos don't matter." The boy replied, "Your family matters. Not the Legos, not toys. Your family." "I get gifts every year from my family," said one of the girls, who chose a coffee maker for her mom over a new doll for herself. "And my mom doesn't get anything." Another chose her mom's gift and said, "She helps me when I'm sick. She helps me with my homework." "She gave me a house to live in," said one of the boys of his mother. Said another, "My parents look out for me and do stuff for me, so I need to give back to them." These young children had already learned something that we may forget as adults, that it really is, as Jesus said, more blessed to give than to receive. They inherently knew that they were made for generosity and that we find the greatest joy in life when we are selfless. I agree with what Adam wrote there, and I love that story. I think in it represents an innate desire within each of us to be generous. In fact, looking back at Genesis and remembering that we're taught there that we're created in the image of God, I think that image of God remains within us, that desire to be generous. I think that's certainly part of who God is. I think maybe that generous spirit maybe has been tainted by sin. Maybe we've learned to be more self-serving than selfless. But I think when we strive to be generous, when we try to give of ourselves and give of our resources to support others, it makes a difference. We feel that difference. We feel the excitement of giving. I think that's just a part of who we are. And I think it's a part of who our God is. When we look at God's perfect representative, when we look at Jesus Christ, God himself in human form, we see his generosity, how he gave of himself to heal those who are sick, to care for those who were in need, to feed the multitudes, and even to give of himself hanging on the cross for us, dying for us, paying the price for us that we could not pay for ourselves. In this, we see that our God is a generous God. And I think our generosity works in tandem with God's generosity. I think our generosity reveals something about us. I think when Jesus says that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, he's giving us information about ourselves. Where we put our money says something about who we are and what matters to us. Where our heart is, where our money is, there our heart will be also. I think we're called to be generous. This is a difficult time to be generous. We're noticing a difference here at the church. We're not able to take up that weekly offering, and giving's been down a little bit, as it is with all churches right now. I was asked to mention that to you, and I just did, but at the same time, I'm not worried about that. I know the heart of our members. I know their generosity. I know that many are going to make up what they weren't able to give in person when they're able to return to church on a regular basis. I think a lot of folks are going to put a check in the mail. We've had one or two drop by their checks at the office, which has been open. We're trying to keep it a safe distance, by the way, but the office has been open. We've even had folks make online gifts. You can do that through the website if you'd like. But here's what else I know about you. Maybe right now you're not giving to the church because you're making sure that that waitress in town who's not getting the tips that she was getting before, you're making sure she's being looked after. Or maybe you're taking time to support the Red Cross because they're in need right now. Maybe you're able to make a blood donation, or maybe you're able to make a gift to the Red Cross. And that's important too. Generosity doesn't just mean giving to the church as much as we appreciate your giving. It means allowing your money to do God's work in a powerful way wherever you see the need. When you do it through us, we try to be faithful with that. We try to use your gifts as good stewards. But ultimately, you're not giving to us. Whether you give to us or the Red Cross or hospice or whoever you might want to support, you're giving to God and what God's trying to do in the world, and we appreciate that. There's some that will try to tell us that when we give, we're going to get something back in return. The Scripture says that. Jesus says, in fact, give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. I believe Jesus is right in what he's saying. I trust that we understand, though, that these are blessings he's talking about. We're not necessarily going to get goodies back, material things back. But still, by giving, by allowing ourselves to receive those blessings of being generous, we kind of come closer to that image of God created within us. We come closer to who God intended us to be right from the very start. And I think that's important. Now's a great time to be generous with your money as you can, with yourself, by calling and checking on people, by reaching out and letting folks know that they're